much a fixture. And there's always, some text or some emails or posts or whatever going, Gobos 8 and 9, they really suck. What were they thinking? They must have just left early for the day or something.
Ravenhill.
Hey, Ryan.
Thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit today. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks. It's a pleasure. I mean, thanks for having me. This is great. I think it's a brilliant initiative, and I'm looking forward to all of the episodes. I've been going through a few little changes recently, both at GLP. So I've taken on a bit of a different role. I'm still the president of the GLP US operation and still overseeing it all, but I've changed a little bit what I do on a day-to-day basis. Just kind of step back a little bit from the cold face, so to speak. And some of those daily operations, so that it gives us an opportunity to look at, the strategic side of things, doing those, larger, more helicopter view, I guess we say, get up a little bit in the whole market area. So I'm going to be doing more of that basically, but still very much within GLP. So it's exciting.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Number one, that's huge. And you recently moved to Nashville, so you've left the West Coast and you're in Tennessee now.
That's right. It was kind of, it was an opportunity to do something new. And I can honestly say, we've actually only been here a week already, but everyone's just so friendly. It's amazing. Everyone really
is. It's got that Southern hospitality is very prominent in Nashville.
Yeah, truly. So already we're having a blast already. So it's
When we were emailing the other day, you had mentioned that you didn't have Wi-Fi yet, and it took me a second to step back and think, can you imagine a day and age where you didn't have internet for more than, a day or two anymore? It's where you just have to have internet. You have to have 5G for everything. So like when most people think of German light products, the first thing a lot of people think is JDC1, right? Because it's there's very few lights in the lighting world that to me, every now and then one comes along and kind of changes it, like introduces something new to the designer's toolkit that maybe wasn't there, like the Sharpie I can think of, kind of mainstream the beam light, and the JDC1 really kind of like you said, found a gap in what everything was out there was not providing, and it delivered that. And I mean, lots of us know how much work you guys do on the back end and front end of developing a product, but let's say like your pre-JDC1 launch days, like did you anticipate? I mean, you see it everywhere. I mean, I've seen it on commercials, on award shows, on everything. Like did you know? Did you have a feeling like, oh, this is gonna be a big one when it was coming?
It's funny because you never know for sure, and there's always so many factors that come into it. You never quite know who. Normally we will launch a product at a trade show. Obviously, LDI is our big one here in America, and we'll show something there. But of course, sometimes you get an inkling, you hear little whispers about what other manufacturers might be doing, but you never know if somebody, the booth across the aisle is going to come out with something exactly the same as well. So it's difficult, and you're never quite sure. You can get an inkling, but you're never sure. But I can tell you the feeling when you absolutely get the target right bang on and you hit it right in the middle, it's absolutely amazing, and you get so much great feedback and you get so much positivity coming back to you that it just makes it all so worthwhile. It really does.
What is something like you wish that everyone on the other end of creating a product knew? Like what's something from the manufacturing side that you just wish sometimes you could shake us LDs and be like, you don't get it? That's a very good question. I tell you, one thing I can tell you that in my experience, and I've made a lot of lights during my career now with the different companies I've worked with. The two hardest things about a product is naming a product and finding a name that everybody likes, and then choosing the gobos, choosing the design
Gobos. And that's one actually that could easily answer your question, because of it's such a hard thing, because you're trying to make something that's, a bit theatrical, but a bit rock and roll, and a bit soft edge, and a bit hard edge, and a bit geometric, and a bit, all of these different things. And no matter what you do, you can't satisfy everybody. Launch a fixture, and there's always, some text or some emails or posts or whatever going, Gobos 8 and 9, they really suck. What were they thinking? They must have just left early for the day or something and given up. And you go, no, you don't understand. We've been through 8,000 different designs to nail it down to these two or something. So, so that's a tough part of the job. Gobo design. I don't see anybody who has to make the choice.
I can't imagine, because his best friend, his favorite Gobos will probably be Gobo 8 and 9.
That's right. Yeah, and do you do the coloured ones? No, well, that's not your job as a manufacturer to say which Gobo needs colour. That's our job. And we have all these conversations, just go, all right, I can't win. So I've stopped doing Gobos now.
You're overstepping.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the designer's responsibility.
So there we go. So I've stopped that. I've given the Gobo job to somebody else, and they can suffer.
Yeah. Well, can you tell me anything that's made it to the cutting room floor that maybe never made it even all the way through that would interest us?
There's within GLP there is a famous story. And GLP were, an emerging manufacturer. And one of the things they got to at this point in time was they'd raised enough money where they were going to use a proper industrial designer for a range of products. And it was going to be called Blue Tools. And there was going to be a spot and a wash and kind of a beam fixture as well. They were smaller fixtures, and this is going back to the where were we? We're back in the mid 90s now. So GLP had some success. They'd established themselves and everything. They got a bit of a brand going, and they put all of this money. And the industrial designers are not cheap when you have to hire them as a freelance. And so they basically took all of their money and blew it on the industrial designer, and everything looked fantastic, and they got the renders and it looked good and everything. And then the samples arrived, or the final product arrived, and then they found out that the power supply wouldn't fit inside the design. And everybody kind of looked at each other, sort of going, well, what do we do now? And the answer was, well, there was nothing to do now, because you can't get it redesigned. You bought the model and everything like that, and you spent all your money. There's no money left in the bank. What do we do? And we couldn't get a smaller power supply. So that's it. Obviously the company went on and found a solution and recovered.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. We have these Blue Tools products, and they're in the museum, and that's it. Yep. They've never made it to the market because the power supply went inside. So they're great to look at, and if anybody ever gets on the visit to Germany, they get to see them, but not turned on. So, and that was
limited edition, one of one.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
I can't imagine. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me, giving me a little bit of your day.
Pleasure. It's always great to catch up with you.
Hello, Ruben from Creative Integration Studio. Woo! We met a long time ago in Vegas, essentially when you were called in to save us because we were not capable of handling the media servers ourselves.
What's that really? And you know what's funny? I am about to go literally next month. I'm about to go and do it again. Most people think that I'm like the video guy, or I'm a video guy, and the reality is that I consider myself to be someone who is sort of threading that middle ground between lights and video. But while I was kind of like finding my way into like, I like to do lights and I like to do videos, then I found automation and I found lasers and I found 3D tracking and all this other fun stuff. And then I discovered like, oh heck, I'm actually an integrator. Like I like to put all these bits of technology together.
I love that. System integrator. That plays into your name. I'm assuming there's a connection.
creative integration studio?
Nah.
I like to help people, like designers like yourself, like guys like John, Yamil back in the day, you know, like they'll run into a problem where like, hey, I have this idea, or we have these bits of technology that we want to use in the show. How do we make them all work together? And that's kind of like where I've been really active in lately, or at least since 2017 when I left D&D. So yeah, I think like creative integrator has been like my de facto role. So sometimes that means more lighting, sometimes that means more video, sometimes that means, hey, can you put sensors on the carpet so that we
Yeah, it sounds like you like to
yeah,
it sounds like you're not scared to kind of jump into a project that maybe hasn't totally been invented yet.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I try to explain to especially people that I work with for the first time is we may fuck up. Things may go horribly. Like, I need you to be comfortable with knowing with that, like, we're gonna have a show, we're gonna have screens are gonna turn on, lights are gonna turn on, things are gonna happen. But there is a possibility, there is a risk of failure because we're trying something that's completely new. It could be, sometimes it's new to them, sometimes it's even new to me, sometimes it's even new to the very manufacturers that we work with. Like a lot of the technology that I've been working with, you know, especially over the past 3 years, you know, a lot of that software, it's on alpha, it's on beta, it's on some special release, some special bug fix that we found during rehearsals the day before for that show.
Describe to me why you go with an AI server over Resolume in a world that is becoming increasingly Resolume-y.
Honestly, okay, so the de facto answer, and I think like the politically correct answer, and the one that it's not that's gonna not get me in trouble. It's more about the one that I think most people are going to just automatically agree, and it's just impossibly to argue with this fact. The best solution is gonna be the one that you're more comfortable with, the one that gives you the most flexibility. Honestly, I don't care if you're a Resolume guy, if you are a Isadora guy, a Hippo Disguise, D3, whatever you want to call it, you know, fine. Be you. If you take a job using a media server that you don't know and you don't feel comfortable doing it, like you have to be able to, like, you know, accept the consequences of that. In my opinion, I've been using AI since 2011. So at this point, it's quite literally the era that I can dream patches almost in a way. And like, I'm comfortable with Disguise and I'm comfortable with Hippo. I'm comfortable. I never learned Resolume. It's one of those funny things. Like, I never learned it. I have learned how to do the advanced output mapping primarily because, you know, guys show up on a festival and they're like, oh, I don't understand why things are not lining up. And I'm like, oh, you gotta draw the box and then draw the box where that box goes into.
You kind of do a lot of festival work. Do you like that stuff? Do you find that it's a little more less challenging because it's a little more, you know, straightforward?
Festivals are interesting because of the amount of debris that's being thrown at you from all directions, right? It's like, we're having problems with lighting, we're having networking, time code. They have all the different types of time code nowadays. You have, you know, you have digital time code and analog and SMPTE, and over the other day we were playing with like time code over lasers. We literally had like 2 lasers antennas from the house. We're like, why are we doing this? This is just unnecessary amounts of just waste to possibly fuck shit up.
You know, festivals obviously have video guy after video guy coming through. Like, what qualities in a video person do you look for when, you know, that are good? Like, if someone's on the road doing festivals, like, what would you say to that person? Like, please do this to make life so much easier for all of us.
You gotta be able to roll with the punches. That's like number one. Roll with the punches. Like, that's honestly, when I started working production, like live production in Miami, the first time that Dave McCraney at Everlast put me on like a wedding and kind of said like, here, you handle this bit. I remember I was having like some small problems, and like at one point he just came up to me and was like, dude, roll with the punches. Just boom. Like you get stuck in one thing, move on to the next, circle back to it, you know?
Yeah.
Or just get rid of it. Like if it's not working, get rid of it. Bye.
Keep your legs moving, you know?
But like, I think that's one of the things that I find, and it goes for when you're operating, when you're setting up, just, you know, on tours, on installations, or anything, the whole roll with the punches attitude, you just gotta have it in you. You gotta be able to, I messed up this cue. Okay, I'm gonna nail the next one. Like if you get stuck on I messed up the first cue, you're gonna mess up cue 2 and 3 and 4 and 10 and then at the end of the show, and then at that point, like it's over. The number one quality is always gonna be like, you gotta be able to move on, learn from that, but you can do that later.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the now. Sweet.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. Be a dad.
Thank you, homie.
Matt Geasey, Just Networking Zone. In the internet flesh. The internet flesh. Thank you for hanging out with me. How are you, my friend?
We're doing all right. It's a lot busy season for everybody in entertainment finally, so it's good.
So when we met, it was over the internet during COVID times.
Yeah.
And you were really just sort of launching the bridge. You know what I mean? This is right? I'm saying things correctly.
Yeah, we were kind of like playing around with it.
Yeah, like you and now it's kind of everywhere. So take me, you know, quickly just through what's been going on over the past 2 years and how this thing has blown up, probably bigger than you thought, and yeah.
It's funny because when we first just started meddling around with the idea, right? It was, oh, this could be, you know, fun, you know, small need, people could use it, you know, we could use it for internal things, why not? And then it was like, well, we're curious, could it be useful for others in different ways, right? Not just like a lighting tool or a specific use case, but, you know, we learned the different things and the different challenges that people had at the end of the day. So having something to keep moving forward has been definitely fun and interesting, and definitely very challenging at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we didn't see that. We didn't really expect it to get that way until we made that decision of like, okay, yeah, this can help a lot more people, a lot more of our friends and colleagues in the industry. So that's definitely been it's humbling to see, because people are using it on projects and they trust that it's going to work the way they expect it, right? You know, we all have those items.
Yeah, it's a large amount of trust.
Yeah, and you know, we try to make sure that we're the team still to help them get through whatever it is.
And describe in a simplified way what the bridge does. You know, it basically allows consoles in remote places to communicate with each other. Yeah,
it's how you make non-IoT devices such as lighting desks, media servers, video processors, audio microphone receivers, anything you can't put software on that you would need to access, you can now access. We're making those systems IoT based. And the bridge essentially between two devices creates the world's longest digital Cat5 cable.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Via the cloud. Amazing. Stuff that, you know, even 18 months ago, most people were thinking, what if, is kind of plug and play now because of what you guys have developed. So congratulations on that, because that's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
What's a feature you're working on adding?
We're working on a software-based version.
Yeah.
Yep. Because right now you have to have the hardware to get in and out of the systems. But we've been working on the software-based version to try to make it a little bit more easier to use. In regards to don't want to buy the hardware, but
that'll be pretty powerful.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you still need the hardware to get into those systems that aren't capable of putting software on, right?
Yeah.
So, It's not there to replace, it's there to make the access just a little bit easier.
What like, say someone's watching this and they're about to start, you know, they're jumping into start a business type of situation. What have you learned? If you could give them a one-liner for the past 2 years, like,
Don't start a hardware company during a hardware pandemic.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're not the only one saying something like that.
The whole process is interesting because you're going to be like, if you're starting it, you're going to be doing everything, no matter what. Like every part you're going to be touching. If it's, you know, if you're the sole owner or you're one of the partners or whatever, like
involved.
Everybody that starts the company will be doing everything. You're going to be doing everything. You're going to have to learn everything that you haven't had to learn before, or, you know, learn more about if you have some understanding of certain things, right? And then the biggest thing has been for me, my personal biggest challenge was going from the guy that spec the gear, right?
Yeah.
The one that now had to sell it to the other me. So that's been very
the script is flipped.
Yeah, 100%. So that's been super interesting to understand and navigate.
You're like, man, now I wish I wouldn't have given so-and-so such a hard time.
But that goes back to, you know, in our industry, don't be an ass. Everybody's going to find out if you are or not, you know. Yeah,
the world is very small. I really appreciate you taking the time, and, you know, it's fun to nerd out. Quentin Mariano, aka Theatrewolf, thank you for being here, hanging out with us.
Thanks for the invite, man.
Yeah, I think interrupt me if I'm wrong, but we are purely internet friends, right? We've never actually crossed real life paths.
Yeah, because COVID kind of fucked the traveling of everything.
Yeah.
So that was
It did that.
And then now I'm moving shows, and you moved. So now I'm not going to where you would have been right away, but we'll get there. It always happens. Nothing
was the same.
No. but it always happens. I'll be wherever one day.
What have you been working on since COVID? You know, you were previously on a tour, and what are you working on now that you're allowed to tell us? As much as.
Yeah, I don't theater. So I tour with Broadway shows. I was just currently out as the assistant electrician. So the deck electrician, moving light tech for Hadestown, first national tour. And starting up in about 2 weeks, we go to tech, and I'll be going out as the head electrician for Jagged Little Pill.
That's cool. Congrats.
So that'll be fun. Yeah. My first jukebox musical, but at least it's good music. That's what I'm like. Yeah. You never know. You get sometimes like really bad music, and I'm like, ugh, but this one, the music's pretty solid.
And have you been a lifelong musical fan?
Because I still live. I'm only 30 minutes outside New York City. Mm-hmm. So I've grown up in musical theater. Never thought I'd work it, but here I am.
Yeah, and you probably can't get out.
Yeah, and like everyone knows I love rock and roll. I love punk rock, and that's like my main music. And I would love to do one of those tours, but then again, every time I get offered one, I'm like, but that's like 2 months of work, and then I got to go hustle for another tour when Broadway tours are at least a year, if not longer. Like I know Hadestown's still out for another year, maybe 2 years, and I was on that since September of 21.
Yeah. So it's like the perfect scenario for you would be like a rock musical.
Yeah. Like shit. Oh, what is it? We were talking on Hadestown. We want the Green Day one to come back because that was amazing. But you know, it could be that whatever, maybe 10 year, 15 year, whatever they want to do. They should bring it back.
In the theater Broadway touring world, right? So you're working on a project that's not yet on the road, about to be on the road. What is the preparation phase like before you hit the road? Like what are you working on right now? Explain it to me like I'm a club guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So my production electrician, he's already the awesome thing is once you have it's kind of nice when you get one tour done right. you can kind of just copy and paste it going across the board. So this is my third show with him, so I kind of know what his ideas and what we're doing, and he's laid out. We have the light plot from the designer. He's like, okay, here's the he figures out power situation. He figures out racks, data runs, labeling, and labeling's a huge thing with him, and I love that because I know where everything is, where it goes, no matter what way, if it's ran backwards or forwards, I know where it is, so it makes troubleshooting so much easier. But we'll start building, depending on, this also depends on the shop, like they may not have all the gear right away, so we'll start building usually trusses and ladders and running all the cable and zip tying the cables in, because it's a tour, so once it's in, it's living in that truss, even though the truss is moving from city to city. We're labeling the connectors, so we can build the truss together, and I just tell some local to be like, hey, match color, so blue goes to blue, and if they can somehow get like a blue DMX into like a blue True One or a blue PowerCon, man, that's skill, but we try to make it as idiot-proof as we can. I mean, we did have on a one, but we're not just setting up for the tour, we got to set up for tech too, so we're building the lighting designer's rack and getting their stuff. We're building the programmer's rack. He has a rack. The special effects person will have a rack. And then on top of our list also is like Q lights. So that's usually pretty simple, but we're figuring out Q lights too.
Well, you say it's simple because it sounds simple, but then when you got to add it into the mix, it's never simple.
Yeah.
So like, what's the show day like once you get out on the road? Like, tell me like a 24 hours show cycle. We'll call it.
I guess the better thing would be give you like how like a Sunday to a Tuesday works, because that's normally what happens on a regular tour, because like a normal day is like we just show up at the show call, which is an hour and a half before the show. That's boring.
Yeah,
not boring and like that's a boring story, but so we'll do 2 shows Sunday, and then going off of Hades Sound, because that's the most recent one, we would start load out at 10:30 and just go until 10:30 at night, and then just keep going till 3 to 5 in the morning. Depends on the city, venue, and all that. That's a whole other mixed bag of tricks that happens. So we do that, hop on a plane or bus, depending on the situation of where we're going, go to the next city, maybe get an hour or two of sleep, and then start loading again from, I don't know, let's just say 1. The times change. So like from 1 p.m. to about 8 p.m. depends on the day. And then we do a show that night. So 7:30 to about like 10:40-ish. That sounds about right.
That's quick.
So it's quick, long days, but I don't know, it's fun. We all bitch and complain about it. Don't get me wrong, we complain a lot about it, but I don't know. I can't think of like sitting behind a desk. I really can't. A lighting desk I could. I just meant like a desk. No, I couldn't.
Yeah. Do that. No. I appreciate you taking time. I wanted to show the world how much I appreciated you getting me this.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Badass Hades Sound t-shirt. There we go.
And actually, like, we don't have a lot of swag, but I do like that one with the acid wash.
Yeah. I wear this quite a bit, actually.
They came out with joggers recently that are acid wash. I'm like, those are pretty cool.
You're gonna have to cop me some of those somehow, some way.
Oh, that's always easy. You just gotta ask the right people.
Yeah, exactly. Swag's like the ultimate currency of networking. Like if you really know someone, then you can get a hoodie.
It's that or stickers. Like, yo, you got a sticker? I'm like, yeah, I got a sticker. You got a t-shirt? I don't have that, but I got a sticker.
Yeah, it's even better. And then you get holographic stickers, which is like
the ultra rare.
Yeah.